So I've got my Xbox One S here, and it kind of drives me crazy to have computer-like things that aren't modified in some way, so I've decided to try and modify this thing. I'm going to mod it to be kind of like a Rainbow Six Siege case, because that's my favorite multiplayer game. And so this is kind of a tutorial on how to take apart your Xbox One S and then modify it. I'm going to be cutting a case window in this thing and kind of adding some decals to make it kind of look like a Rainbow Six Siege themed Xbox. If you want to try and replicate any of the mods that I do to this Xbox, you can find all of the tools and materials that I used down in the description of the video, and you should also know that this will void your warranty.
First of all, you have to take off this little sticker, which automatically right there voids your warranty, so this is the point of no return. Then you have to use some kind of pry bar. I'm using a flathead screwdriver to pry off the black part of the bottom of the case. It's just held on there by little plastic clips, and if you pry off the black part, it won't damage the clips. You can just pull straight down, it'll be fine. Except for the little tab behind the warranty voiding sticker that we took off, you actually have to pull the black part away from the case in order to get it over that little tab. These long green screws screw through the metallic part of the case and into the white exterior shell that surrounds the outside of the case, so you have to unscrew all of those in order to get the case apart. After that, you have to take off the two circuit boards, one on the side of the case, which is the Wi-Fi adapter, and the other one on the front, which is just the power button and the eject button and all that stuff. You have to unscrew those and then just unplug them. I sanded the entire outside of the case just to promote paint adhesion when I paint the case, and then I drilled a hole into the part of the case where I'm going to put my window. I cut out the window with a scroll saw, but you could also use a jigsaw. For the case window and this Rainbow Six decal that I'm putting on the case window, I'm using 3mm thick cast acrylic. Again, if you want to do any detail cutting on your acrylic, you're going to need a scroll saw or a jigsaw, and you need to cover the surface of the acrylic somehow. I just use painter's tape to go over it, otherwise it will melt when you try to cut it. If all you're doing with your acrylic is cutting a rectangular window and you're not actually doing any detailed cutting like I do, you can use an acrylic cutter instead of a saw, and that will only cost you a couple dollars. I'll link a more detailed explanation of working with acrylic in the description of the video. As for this metallic shell, you really don't even need it at all. You can literally just throw the entire top of this thing away. I cut it in half so that the half that I cut off wouldn't block the window that I put into this case, but I really didn't even have to do that. I could have just thrown the entire thing away. Getting rid of this thing won't hurt your Xbox at all. I used Rust-Oleum enamel primer, color, and clear coat to paint this case. And to cut out the vinyl decal that I used as a stencil to paint the Rainbow Six Siege logo, I used a vinyl cutter, the Silhouette Portrait. If you don't have a vinyl cutter, you're not going to be able to do this detailed vinyl stencils, but you'll still be able to do vinyl stencils. You'll just have to cut out whatever you can do by hand with a razor blade or something like that. And I definitely do suggest that you use vinyl for your stencils instead of some other masking medium, just because it gives you the cleanest lines. To attach the window onto the case, all I used was some really strong 3M mounting tape, and to attach the Rainbow Six logo onto the outside of the window, I used acrylic cement, which actually kind of melts the acrylic and welds it together so that it becomes one piece instead of two. So it's a little bit different from actually gluing it on there. Just be really careful with this, because if you get any on your paint job, it'll just melt your paint right off. For the case LEDs, all I did was just grab some really cheap red ones, but you can use whatever you want. You can make it RGB if you want to, it doesn't really matter. I just stuck the wire right out the back of the case, and it was really easy and straightforward to do. If your LED strip that you get comes like mine, where it's just a wire and then you have to attach the connector on yourself, remember that the black wire is negative and the red one is positive. There will be a little plus and minus sign on the connector that you have to connect those wires to. Just stick the two loose wires into the two connector holes and then tighten down the screws on top. Then you just plug that into an adapter that plugs into the wall. The one that I used is in the description.
Alright, so this Xbox mod came out really good. I'm really excited to play some Siege on it, feel all super official and whatnot. I hope this effectively sheds some light on how to mod your Xbox One S in case any of you are thinking about doing it yourselves. And I like to do a whole bunch of this stuff on this channel, usually with PCs, but Xboxes are just basically small PCs anyway. So if you're into this kind of thing and you want to see more, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next one.